Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. Today's world news headline summary. 1. CNN. 1.1. 트럼프 행정부. 하버드 대학 연방지원금 중단 추진 및 사면 단행. President Donald Trump has significantly escalated his ongoing battle against higher education institutions by aggressively aiming to cancel all federal funds directed to Harvard University. Academic experts warn that this unprecedented executive move could severely disrupt crucial public health research and trigger a devastating brain drain in the United States. Furthermore, the administration's broader war on colleges is raising profound alarms among academics about the future of independent, unbiased research. In a separate but equally controversial move, Trump issued a new wave of pardons, which notably included individuals convicted of bank fraud and tax crimes. A federal judge is expected to hold a critical hearing soon regarding a temporary block on the Harvard funding ban. Vocabulary. Escalate. 동사. 악화시키다. 고조시키다. The conflict threatens to escalate into a full-scale war. Unprecedented. 형용사. 전례 없는. The pandemic caused an unprecedented economic crisis globally. Disrupt. 동사. 방해하다. 지장을 주다. The ongoing strike will deeply disrupt public transportation. Brain drain. 영사. 두뇌 유출, 인재 유출. The developing country is suffering from a massive brain drain. Pardon. 영사, 동사. 사면, 용서하다. The president granted a full pardon to the convicted politician. Convict. 동사. 유죄를 선고하다. He was convicted of major bank fraud and tax evasion. Unbiased. 형용사. 편견 없는, 공정한. The jury is expected to make an unbiased decision based on facts. Block. 영사. 차단, 초지. The judge issued a legal block on the controversial new policy. 1.2. 텍사스주 공화당 상원의원 예비선거에서 켄 팩스턴 승리 이변. In a monumental political shift, Trump-backed Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton defeated incumbent Senator John Cornyn in the highly anticipated Republican primary runoff. Cornyn's stunning loss marks the first time a sitting Republican senator from Texas has lost their party's nomination for re-election. Paxton triumphantly hailed the victory as a testament to Trump being, quote, the most powerful force in politics, despite his own extensive history of legal and ethical controversies. This unexpected outcome has deeply concerned the Republican establishment, who fear Paxton could be a severe liability in the general election. Consequently, Democrats now see a rare and viable opportunity to flip a traditionally safe Senate seat in November by aggressively targeting Paxton's vulnerabilities. Vocabulary. Monumental. 형용사. 기념비적인, 엄청난. The discovery was a monumental achievement for modern science. Incumbent. 용사, 형용사. 현직의, 현직 의원. The incumbent comfortably won his re-election campaign. One-off. 용사. 결선 투표. Since no candidate got 50%, there will be a one-off next month. Testament. 용사. 증거, 증명. Her success is a true testament to her relentless hard work. Controversy. 용사. 논란, 논쟁. The newly proposed tax policy has caused a lot of controversy. Establishment. 용사. 주류, 기득권. He is running as an outsider against the political establishment. Liability. 용사. 골칫거리, 법적 책임. His highly controversial past has become a liability for the party. Flip. 동사. 선거에서 진영을 뒤집다. The Democrats are aggressively hoping to flip the Senate seat. 1.3. CNN original series Eva Longoria, France to Search It, Season 2, Hawker. CNN has officially announced the renewal of its highly acclaimed original series, Eva Longoria, Searching for France, for a second season. Award-winning actress, producer, and philanthropist Eva Longoria will return to the network to guide viewers through another immersive cultural and culinary journey. The highly successful Searching For franchise continues to captivate global audiences by exploring deep regional histories and authentic local traditions. Produced in collaboration with Hyphenate Media Group, the upcoming season promises to deliver an even closer and more intimate look at France's diverse cultural landscape. Eager fans can expect the highly anticipated new episodes to premiere on CNN in 2027. Vocabulary. Acclaimed. 형용사. 호평을 받은, 찬사를 받는. The highly acclaimed documentary won several international awards. Renewal. 명사. 갱신, 재개. The network quickly announced the renewal of the hit drama. Philanthropist. 용사. 자선가. The billionaire philanthropist donated millions to local charities. Immersive. 형용사. 몰입감 있는. The VR headset provides a fully immersive gaming experience. Culinary. 형용사. 요리의 미식의. Paris is widely known around the world for its culinary traditions. Captivate. 동사. 마음을 사로잡다. 매혹하다. The singer's stunning performance captivated the entire audience. Authentic. 형용사. 진정한, 진짜의. The restaurant serves authentic Italian food made from old recipes. Highly anticipated. 형용사구. 매우 기대되는. The highly anticipated movie finally premiered in theaters last night.
2. BBC 2.1 영국 기상관측 사상 가장 뜨거운 35도씨 5월 폭염 강타. The United Kingdom is currently enduring a historic May heat wave, with temperatures reaching an unprecedented 35 degrees Celsius at Heathrow and Kew Gardens. This extreme weather phenomenon has broken the record for the hottest May day for the second consecutive day, shattering the previous 32.8 degrees record set decades ago in 1922 and 1944. Consequently, much of England and Wales is now officially under an amber heat health alert, signaling significant dangers to vulnerable populations. Climate experts emphasize that such massive and rapid temperature swings leave flora and fauna completely unable to acclimatize. Ultimately, this prolonged, unseasonable heat wave is raising severe concerns about widespread crop failures and spikes in heat-related mortalities across the nation. Vocabulary. Endure. 동사. 견디다. 겪다. The farming region had to endure a severe drought for 3 years. Consecutive. 형용사. 연속적인. It rained heavily for 5 consecutive days without stopping. Shatter. 동사. 산산조각 내다. 경신하다. The young athlete shattered the world record in the 100-meter sprint. Amber. 형용사, 명사. 호박색, 황색, 경보. An amber warning for heavy snow was issued by the weather office. Vulnerable. 형용사. 취약한, 연약한. The elderly are particularly vulnerable to extreme heat waves. Flora and fauna. 명사구. 동식물. The island is uniquely famous for its diverse flora and fauna. Acclimatize. 동사. 적응하다, 순응하다. It takes a few days to acclimatize to the high mountain altitude. Mortality. 명사율, 사망률, 사망자 수. The mortality rate of the disease has decreased due to new vaccines. 2.2. 중동전쟁의 나비 효과. 일본 제과업계, 포장지 잉크 부족 사태. The escalating military conflict involving Iran is producing unexpected global ripple effects, significantly impacting food manufacturers far away in Japan. Japanese companies are currently facing a severe shortage of printing ink, which is essential for creating vibrant and attractive food wrappings. In an unprecedented response, a major snack manufacturer has decided to transition its best-selling potato chip packaging from full color to black and white. The root cause of this industrial disruption is a global shortage of naphtha, a crucial hydrocarbon derived from crude oil used to produce commercial ink. Although the Japanese government insists there are adequate naphtha reserves for the immediate future, manufacturers remain highly wary of additional supply chain shocks. The room lacks adequate ventilation for so many people. Wary. 형용사. 경계하는, 조심하는. Global investors are increasingly wary of the unstable political situation. 2.3. 텍사스 예비선거가 미국 정치와 2028년 대선에 미치는 파장. BBC 심층 분석. Texas remains a fundamental political powerhouse in the United States, dominating national agendas ranging from strict immigration policies to conservative court appointments. The ongoing midterm primary elections in Texas are generating intense national scrutiny as they rapidly become some of the most expensive in modern American history. A detailed BBC analysis suggests that if Democrats can manage to win the highly contested Texas Senate seat, it would drastically shift the balance of power in Washington. Such a historic victory would enable Democrats to effectively check President Trump's sweeping executive powers, a goal they have struggled to achieve during his second term. Furthermore, a fundamental political realignment in Texas could profoundly alter the electoral landscape for the upcoming 2028 presidential election. Vocabulary. Powerhouse. 명사. 유력 집단. 강자. Germany has long been considered the economic powerhouse of Europe. Dominate. 동사. 지배하다, 주도하다. The tech giant continues to dominate the global smartphone market. Scrutiny. 명사. 정밀 조사, 철저한 검토. The government's new budget plan came under intense public scrutiny. Drastically. 부사. 급격하게, 철저하게. The weather changed drastically, dropping 20 degrees over the weekend. Balance of power. 명사구. 권력 균형. The treaty was signed to carefully maintain the balance of power in the region. Check. 동사. 억제하다, 견제하다. The Constitution was brilliantly designed to check the powers of the president. Realignment. 명사. 재편, 재배열. The recent election shock caused a major political realignment in the country. Profoundly. 부사. 깊이, 크기. The scientific discovery profoundly influenced modern medical treatments. 3. ABC 오스트레일리아. 3.1. 호주와 튀르키예 COP31 기후총회 공동 유치 타협안 발표. Australia and Turkey have officially issued a joint letter detailing their shared strategic priorities ahead of the COP31 climate summit in 2026. After a prolonged and tense standoff over exclusive hosting rights, the two nations reached a pragmatic diplomatic compromise where Turkey will physically host the event, while Australia leads the complex global negotiations. Australia's Minister for Climate Change, Chris Bowen, emphatically highlighted a steadfast commitment to maintaining an inclusive and highly transparent negotiation process. To elevate the urgent voices of vulnerable island nations, Australia proudly announced the appointment of 3 Pacific climate envoys from the Marshall Islands, Papua New Guinea, and Fiji. This cooperative framework represents a significant diplomatic effort to keep the crucial 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature goal within reach while driving green industrial transformation. Vocabulary. Standoff. 명사. 교착 상태, 대치. The tense diplomatic standoff lasted for several months before an agreement was reached. Exclusive. 형용사. 독점적인, 전용해. The club offers exclusive access to its premium members only. Pragmatic. 형용사. 실용적인, 실리적인. The new manager took a highly pragmatic approach to solving the budget crisis. Compromise. 명사. 타협, 절충안. The two stubborn parties finally reached a compromise after hours of debate. Steadfast. 형용사. 확고한, 변함없는. He remains steadfast in his moral belief despite widespread criticism. Inclusive. 형용사. 포용적인, 배제하지 않는. The company actively aims to create a more inclusive workplace culture. Envoy. 명사, 사절, 특사. The UN immediately sent a special envoy to help negotiate a peace treaty. Vulnerable, 형용사, 취약한, 상처받기 쉬운. Low-lying coastal cities are highly vulnerable to catastrophic rising sea levels. 3.2. 호주 정부, 청년층을 위한 세대 간 불평등 해소 급진적 세제 개편안 발표. The Australian government has handed down a landmark 2026-27 federal budget explicitly designed to tackle deep-rooted intergenerational inequity. Central to this budget is a radical tax reform that completely replaces the 50% capital gains tax, CGT, discount with inflation-based indexation starting in July 2027. Furthermore, the highly controversial negative gearing tax break will be strictly limited to newly built homes, discouraging speculative property hoarding. These structural advantages had previously allowed wealthier, older property investors to easily outbid younger Australians, widening the wealth gap significantly. If fully implemented, economic experts consider this fiscal rebalancing to be the most significant pro-youth policy shift in Australian history, leveling the playing field for desperate first home buyers. Vocabulary. Explicitly. 명시적으로, 분명히. The safety instructions explicitly state that you should not open the box. Intergenerational. 형용사, 세대 간의. The new policy aims to address the growing intergenerational wealth gaps. Inequity. 명사, 불평등, 불공평.
Social activists are fiercely fighting against racial and economic inequity. Radical, 형용사, 급진적인, 과격한. The new CEO proposed radical changes to the failing company's structure. Speculative, 형용사, 투기적인, 추측에 근거한. Speculative buying drove the stock price to an artificially high level. Outbid, 동사, 뭐뭐보다 더 비싼 값을 부르다. He unfortunately lost the auction because a wealthy collector outbid him. Fiscal, 형용사, 국가 재정에, 회계에. The government must maintain strict fiscal discipline during the recession. Level the playing field, 관용구, 공평한 경쟁의 장을 만들다. The new regulations will level the playing field for small local businesses. 3.3. 호주 여당과 녹색당, 천연림 벌목 규제 등 환경법 개정안 협상 진통. In domestic politics, the Australian Labor government is facing intense public scrutiny over its proposed comprehensive overhaul of national environmental laws. The Greens Party, currently holding crucial negotiating power in the Senate, is pushing the government hard for major concessions, particularly demanding an absolute end to native forest logging. Negotiations remain deeply fraught, as the Greens argue that the current environmental bill lacks the necessary teeth to combat the rapidly escalating climate crisis. Meanwhile, the Conservative coalition is also heavily divided internally over its own climate policy, further complicating the precarious parliamentary landscape. This intense political wrangling perfectly highlights the deep ideological divisions within Australia regarding how aggressively to pursue environmental protections at the cost of traditional industries. Vocabulary. Overhaul. 명사/동사. 전면 개편. 철저한 점검. The outdated healthcare system is in desperate need of a major overhaul. Concession. 명사. 양보. 타협. The labor union won several key concessions from the corporate management. Logging, 명사, 벌목. Illegal logging is rapidly destroying vast areas of the Amazon rainforest. Fraught, 형용사, 문제 등으로 가득 찬, 긴장된. The political situation in the disputed region remains highly fraught. Have teeth, 관용구, 법 규제가 구속력, 실효성이 있다. We need a new environmental policy that actually has teeth to punish polluters. Precarious, 형용사, 위태로운, 불확실한. The struggling company is in a highly precarious financial situation. Complicate, 동사, 복잡하게 만들다. The sudden bad weather will further complicate our original travel plans. Wrangling, 명사, 말다툼, 논쟁. After months of bitter political wrangling, the budget bill was finally passed. 4. The Korea Times. 4.1. 북한, 시진핑 방북설 속 서해상으로 근거리 탄도미사일, CRBM 수발 발사. North Korea has predictably escalated regional tensions by firing multiple close-range ballistic missiles, CRBMs, toward the Yellow Sea on Tuesday afternoon. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, JCS, swiftly detected the launches,
which originated from the Jeongju area in North Pyongan province. In an immediate, coordinated response, the South Korean military stepped up its surveillance and monitoring, maintaining a full readiness posture while closely sharing real-time intelligence with the United States and Japan. These CRBMs, characterized by a relatively short flight range of less than 300 kilometers, are widely seen as a calculated strategic show of force. Security analysts prominently note that this latest military provocation occurred amid growing diplomatic speculation that Chinese President Xi Jinping may soon visit Pyongyang. Vocabulary: predictably, fusa, 예상대로, 뻔하게. The movie ended predictably with the hero saving the day. Originate, 동사, 비롯되다, 시작되다. The massive fire originated in the restaurant's kitchen on the first floor. Coordinated, 형용사, 조율된, 조직적인. The rescue team launched a highly coordinated effort to save the hikers. Surveillance, 명사, 감시, 감독. The secure building is under strict 24-hour video surveillance. Readiness, 명사, 준비가 되어 있음, 대비태세. The frontline troops are kept in a state of high combat readiness. Characterize, 동사, 뭐뭐의 특징을 나타내다. The economic recession is characterized by high unemployment and inflation. Calculated, 형용사, 계산된, 계획적인. The politician's controversial remark was a calculated move to gain attention. Provocation, 명사, 도발, 자극. The unannounced military exercises were seen as a deliberate provocation. 4.2. 중국 왕이 외교부장, 이란 분쟁 당사국들에게 타협, halfway, 촉구. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi addressed the United Nations Security Council, strongly urging all parties involved in the escalating Iran conflict to actively pursue a permanent ceasefire. During the pivotal Tuesday meeting in New York, Wang expressed his sincere hope that the warring factions could put aside differences and continue to meet each other halfway to peacefully resolve the crisis. Beijing is strategically positioning itself as a crucial, objective mediator, emphasizing that long-term stability in the Middle East requires mutual political concessions rather than unilateral military force. This calculated diplomatic messaging inherently reflects China's deep economic interests in the volatile region, particularly regarding stable energy supply chains. Observers astutely note that China's rhetoric carefully contrasts with the aggressive, kinetic military posture taken by the United States and Israel. Vocabulary: urge, 동사, 강력히 권고하다, 촉구하다. The UN immediately urged both countries to stop fighting and talk. Pursue, 동사, 추구하다, 밀고 나가다. The detective decided to stubbornly pursue a new line of investigation. Meet somebody halfway. 수거, 타협하다, 절충하다. I'm willing to lower the selling price to meet you halfway. Mediator, 명사, 중개자, 조정자.
The skilled diplomat acted as a mediator between the two hostile nations. Concession, 명사, 양보, 타협. Both stubborn sides had to make some painful concessions to reach an agreement. Unilateral, 형용사, 일방적인, 단독의. The president made a unilateral decision without consulting the parliament. Volatile, 형용사, 불안정한, 변덕스러운. The stock market has been highly volatile due to global political tensions. Rhetoric, 명사, 수사학, 미사여구. Voters are increasingly tired of empty political rhetoric and want real action. 4.3. 주한 이스라엘 대사관, 가자지구 구호 활동가 구금 및 가혹행위, 전면 부인. The Israeli embassy in South Korea has strongly and publicly denied serious allegations that its military detained or mistreated two South Korean human rights activists. The activists were captured last week while aboard international aid vessels, boldly attempting to breach the naval blockade bound for the Gaza Strip. According to an official embassy statement, the individuals were processed immediately upon their arrival at the port of Ashdod and deported through an expedited procedure, completely refuting claims of harsh, prolonged detention. However, one of the activists, who safely returned to Seoul on Friday,
publicly claimed that she was brutally assaulted in the face by Israeli forces, resulting in permanent hearing damage in her left ear. This stark, unresolved contradiction has sparked a heated truth-telling dispute regarding the Israeli military's treatment of foreign humanitarian workers. Vocabulary: deny, 동사, 부인하다, 부정하다. The accused politician strongly denied the rumors of corruption. Allegation: 명사, 혐의, 증거 없는 주장. The tech company is facing serious allegations of corporate tax fraud. Mistreat, 동사, 학대하다, 혹사하다. The animal shelter rescues dogs that have been severely mistreated by owners. Vessel, 명사, 선박, 배. A large commercial cargo vessel arrived at the port early this morning. Breach, 동사, 명사, 위반하다, 뚫다, 위반. The sophisticated hackers managed to breach the bank's main security system. Blockade, 명사, 봉쇄. The powerful navy set up a strict blockade to prevent enemy supplies from entering. Expedite, 동사, 신속히 처리하다, 촉진시키다. Please pay an extra fee if you want to expedite the visa shipping process. Refute, 동사, 반박하다, 논박하다. The scientist provided clear evidence to refute the incorrect climate theory.
5. The Korea Herald. 5.1. 싱가포르 외무장관 평양 전격 방문에 북한 최선희 외무상과 회담. Singaporean Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan held highly significant face-to-face diplomatic talks with his North Korean counterpart Cho Sun-hui in Pyongyang on Tuesday. Meeting at the iconic Mansudae Assembly Hall, the two senior diplomats extensively discussed strengthening bilateral ties and exchanged candid views on pressing regional and global affairs. This visit is widely considered a rare and noteworthy diplomatic move, particularly as Balakrishnan is expected to travel directly to South Korea following his stop in the north. Singapore holds a unique, trusted diplomatic position globally, having successfully hosted the historic first summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in 2018. Political analysts are closely watching to see if Singapore is quietly attempting to revive its role as a neutral facilitator for currently stalled peace dialogues on the peninsula. Vocabulary: counterpart, 명사, 상대방, 대응관계에 있는 사람. The CEO finally met with her European counterpart to discuss a merger. Extensively, 부사, 광범위하게, 널리. The medical benefits of the native plant have been extensively studied. Candid, 형용사, 솔직한, 숨김없는. The two leaders had a surprisingly candid discussion about their differences. Bilateral, 형용사, 양자 간에, 쌍방에. The two neighboring nations signed a new neighboring trade agreement yesterday. Pressing, 형용사, 긴급한, 시급한. Global climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time. Noteworthy, 형용사, 주목할 만한. The young scientist made a truly noteworthy contribution to cancer research. Neutral, 형용사, 중립적인. Switzerland is historically well known for maintaining a neutral political stance. Facilitator, 명사, 조력자, 촉진자, 중재자. The experienced teacher acts as a facilitator for the student's independent learning. 5.2. 이스라엘, 레바논 남동부에 하루 120차례 이상 맹폭격 단행 봄. Israel aggressively pounded Lebanon with more than 120 fierce airstrikes on Tuesday, marking one of the heaviest and most destructive days of bombardment in recent weeks. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu resolutely confirmed that the military is actively deepening its ground and air operations across southern and eastern Lebanon. These massive strikes severely strain the fragile and nominal ceasefire announced on April 16, which was originally intended to temporarily halt fighting between Israel and the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah. In fierce retaliation, Hezbollah launched swarms of explosive drones and rocket artillery aimed directly at advancing Israeli tanks near Zoutar al-Sharqiya. The cumulative civilian death toll in Lebanon continues to rise dramatically, worsening an already devastating and tragic humanitarian crisis. Vocabulary: aggressively, 본격적으로, 맹렬히. The tech company is aggressively marketing its new product to teens. Pound, 동사, 맹긴격하다, 세게 치다. The small coastal towns were heavily pounded by the Category 5 hurricane. Bombardment, 영사, 폭격, 포격.
The ruined city suffered weeks of relentless aerial bombardment. Strain.
동사. 부담을 주다, 한계에 이르게 하다. The sudden influx of patients will severely strain the hospital's resources. Fragile. 형용사. 부서지기 쉬운, 취약한. The hastily signed peace agreement remains extremely fragile. Retaliation. 명사. 보복, 안갚음. The missile strike was in direct retaliation for the previous terrorist attack. Artillery. 명사. 포, 대포. The advancing army used heavy artillery to destroy the enemy concrete bunkers. Cumulative. 형용사. 누적되는. The cumulative effect of a chronic lack of sleep can severely damage your health. 5.3. 정용진 신세계 회장. 스타벅스 코리아 5.18 연상 텀블러 논란 직접 사과. 신세계 Group Chairman 정용진 publicly bowed his head in a profound and solemn apology on Tuesday, taking full personal responsibility for a highly controversial Starbucks Korea promotion. Released exactly on May 18th, the ill-timed Tank tumbler collection sparked immense nationwide outrage because its marketing utilized phrases clearly evoking the brutal military tanks deployed during the 1980 Gwangju Democratic Uprising, as well as the tragic death of democracy activist Park Jong-chol. I will make no excuses, Chung firmly stated, deeply acknowledging the profound pain inflicted on the bereaved families and the broader Korean public. He urged furious consumers not to direct their anger at innocent frontline Starbucks workers, emphasizing that the fault lies entirely with top management. Consequently, he pledged a comprehensive and immediate overhaul of the company's internal marketing systems and social responsibility standards. Vocabulary. Profound. 형용사. 엄청난, 깊은. The brilliant professor has a profound understanding of modern quantum physics. Solemn. 형용사. 엄숙한, 진지한. The president made a solemn promise to protect the nation's borders. Controversial. 형용사. 논란이 많은. The newly passed immigration law proved to be highly controversial among citizens. Spark. 동사. 촉발시키다, 불꽃을 튀기다. The unfair court's ruling sparked massive violent protests across the country. Outrage. 명사. 격분, 대중적 분노. The public expressed intense outrage over the corrupt politician's remarks. Evoke. 동사. 기억, 감정을 불러일으키다. The nostalgic smell of old books evokes fond memories of my childhood. Inflict. 동사. 고통 등을 가하다, 안기다. The fierce hurricane inflicted severe structural damage on the coastal communities. Bereaved. 형용사. 사별한, 유가족의. The local community offered strong financial support to the bereaved family members. 6.1. 우크라이나군 자폭 드론으로 러시아 핵심 물류 및 정유시설 타격. The Ukrainian military proudly announced that its defense forces successfully struck a series of highly strategic Russian facilities during the nights of May 25 and May 26. According to official combat reports, lethal precision attacks were launched against vital Russian military command posts and massive logistical hubs. Notably, the precise operations forced the major Syzransky oil refinery to halt its operations completely, dealing a severe blow to Russia's fuel supply chain and war economy. Furthermore, Ukrainian special forces effectively neutralized multiple Russian unmanned aerial vehicle control points situated in the highly contested Donetsk and Zaporizhia regions. This carefully coordinated assault demonstrates Ukraine's increasing capability and willingness to hit deep behind enemy lines using domestically produced advanced drone technology. Vocabulary. Strategic. 형용사. 전략적인. The captured island is located at a highly strategic point in the ocean. Lethal. 형용사. 치명적인. 죽음을 초래하는. The poisonous snake possesses a highly lethal venom. Precision. 명사. 정확성. 정밀.
The veteran surgeon performed the delicate heart operation with absolute precision. Logistical. 형용사. 물류에, 경참에. Safely distributing the vaccine globally requires a massive logistical effort. Refinery. 명사. 정제소, 정유공장. The small town's economy relies heavily on the jobs provided by the local oil refinery. Deal a blow to. 관용구. 어디에 타격을 입히다. The embezzlement scandal dealt a severe blow to his promising political career. Neutralize. 동사. 무효화시키다. 제압하다. The bomb squad managed to safely neutralize the explosive device found in the mall. Assault. 명사. 폭행. 냉공격. The enemy forces launched a fierce midnight assault on the military base. 6.2. 영국을 펄펄 끓게 한 이례적인 5월 폭염. 35도 돌파. An incredibly unseasonable and record-breaking May heatwave is currently sweeping across Britain, with daytime temperatures soaring to a blistering 35 degrees Celsius. Seeking desperate relief from the oppressive heat, thousands of visitors enthusiastically flock to coastal areas like Bournemouth Beach and Saltburn Beach to cool off and enjoy the unusually hot weather. Meanwhile, in the concrete heart of London, exhausted pedestrians were seen struggling to find any available shelter from the punishing sun while crossing Westminster Bridge. This unprecedented and rapid spike in spring temperatures is an alarming, tangible indicator of the accelerating global climate crisis. Meteorological authorities across Europe are now deeply concerned and bracing for the potential of even more extreme weather disasters in the approaching summer months. Vocabulary. Unseasonable. 형용사. 계절에 맞지 않는, 때이른. We were experiencing unusually unseasonable warmth for the middle of winter. Soar. 동사. 물가, 기온 등이 치솟다, 급증하다. The prices of fresh vegetables soared immediately after the devastating flood. Blistering. 형용사. 맹렬한, 찌는 듯한 더위.
The runners struggled greatly to finish the marathon in the blistering heat. Flock. 동사. 떼지어가다, 모이다. Thousands of tourists flock to the Paris Museum every year to see the painting. Oppressive. 형용사. 숨막히는, 억압적인. The humidity in the tropical jungle was incredibly oppressive. Punishing. 형용사. 가혹한, 살인적인. The football team endured a punishing daily training schedule before the finals. Indicator. 명사. 지표, 척도. High employee turnover is often a clear indicator of poor corporate management. Brace for. 수거. 어디에 대비하다. The coastal residents are boarding up windows to brace for the incoming hurricane. 6.3. 이란 대통령. 타바스 미군 구출 작전 실패 기념하며 강력한 대미 경고. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian delivered a highly defiant and emotionally charged speech commemorating the anniversary of America's historic military failure in Tabas. He specifically referenced the botched 1980 hostage rescue operation, where severe, unexpected sandstorms decimated U.S. forces, describing the natural disaster as a clear manifestation of divine supremacy. Drawing a direct, purposeful parallel to the present day, Pezeshkian asserted that God continues to guard the Iranian people, as strongly evidenced by their recent successful defense operations against strikes in southern Isfahan. He sternly warned that such historic and modern defeats should serve as a profound, terrifying lesson to global oppressors. This fiery rhetoric is strategically designed to rally domestic solidarity and project unyielding strength amid escalating military confrontations with the United States and Israel. Vocabulary. Defiant. 형용사. 반항적인, 도전적인. The young protesters remained deeply defiant despite the heavy police presence. Commemorate. 동사. 중요한 인물, 사건을 기념하다. A bronze statue was built to commemorate the brave heroes of the revolution. Botched. 형용사. 망친, 실패한. The incredibly botched robbery attempt ended with all thieves being arrested. Decimate. 동사. 대량으로 죽이다, 심하게 훼손하다.
The local population of birds was completely decimated by the infectious disease. Manifestation. 명사, 징후, 어떤 개념의 발현. The high fever is a physical manifestation of the viral infection in the body. Supremacy. 명사, 최고, 패권, 우위. The Roman Empire maintained its total naval supremacy for over a century. Parallel. 명사, 평행, 유사점. There is a striking historical parallel between his life and a tragic Greek novel. Oppressor. 명사, 억압자, 압제자. The courageous rebels fought bravely to free their native country from the oppressors.
7. NHK 월드 재팬 7.1 도쿄 최고급 쇼핑몰 긴자식스에서 정체불명 스프레이 분사 테러 소동. A deeply disturbing and chaotic incident occurred at the Ginza 6 luxury shopping complex in central Tokyo, resulting in sudden injuries to approximately 20 people. Panicked witnesses reported that an unidentified man deliberately sprayed a mysterious aerosol-like substance near an ATM inside the crowded building before fleeing. Immediately following the alarming incident, a remarkably strong, foul odor permeated the immediate area, prompting urgent emergency evacuations of shoppers and staff. Emergency medical responders quickly arrived at the scene to treat those experiencing severe respiratory discomfort, coughing, and sore eyes. Japanese police have launched a full-scale criminal investigation to quickly apprehend the suspect and determine the exact, potentially dangerous chemical composition of the sprayed substance. Vocabulary. Disturbing. 형용사. 충격적인, 불안감을 주는. The news documentary revealed some deeply disturbing facts about child labor. Chaotic. 형용사. 혼란스러운, 무질서한. The stock market floor was completely chaotic after the sudden crash. Unidentified. 형용사. 정체불명의, 신원미상의. An unidentified flying object was clearly spotted in the clear night sky. Deliberately. 부사. 의도적으로, 고의로. The forest fire was deliberately started by an arsonist during the dry season. Permeate. 동사. 스며들다, 퍼지다. The rich smell of fresh coffee permeated the entire office building early in the morning. Evacuation. 명사. 대피, 피난. The immediate, orderly evacuation of the burning building saved many lives. Respiratory. 형용사. 호흡기. Heavy smoking is a widely known major cause of various severe respiratory diseases. Apprehend. 동사. 체포하다. The local police managed to apprehend the fleeing bank thief within 2 hours. 7.2. 북한의 통제불능 핵 고도화와 북러 군사 밀착 심화 우려. North Korea stubbornly continues its aggressive and alarming nuclear escalation, recently and flatly rejecting unified calls from the G7 nations for denuclearization, while vowing to further strengthen its illicit nuclear arsenal. Pyongyang has consistently and provocatively responded to joint U.S.-South Korea defensive military drills by firing a massive barrage of ballistic missiles, thereby deliberately heightening regional instability. Furthermore, recent credible intelligence reports prominently highlight a deeply concerning growing strategic alignment between North Korea and Russia. Mounting evidence strongly suggests that North Korean military personnel might be actively supporting or directly fighting alongside Russian forces in ongoing brutal conflicts. This unprecedented, dangerous level of military cooperation between Pyongyang and Moscow poses a highly complex, multi-front challenge to established global security architectures. Vocabulary. Escalation. 명사. 단계적 확대, 고조. The sudden escalation of the global trade war surprised financial markets. Denuclearization. 명사. 비핵화. Complete denuclearization of the peninsula remains the ultimate difficult diplomatic goal. Vow. 동사. 맹세하다. 공언하다. The newly elected mayor vowed to significantly reduce crime rates during his first term. Arsenal. 명사. 무기고. 비축된 무기. The rogue country spends billions to illegally upgrade its nuclear arsenal every year. barrage, 명사, 일제사격, 집중세례. The embattled president faced a heavy barrage of angry questions from reporters. Alignment, 명사, 지지, 정렬, 공조. The newly signed treaty officially solidified the military alignment between the two nations. Personnel, 명사, 조직, 군대에 인엔, 직원. All off-duty military personnel were immediately ordered to return to their bases. Multi-front, 형용사, 다방면에, 다전선에. The seasoned general prepared the entire army for a complex, exhausting multi-front war. 7.3. 일본을 덮친 아키야, 빈집 현상, 소멸하는 지방도시. Japan is currently grappling with a severe and accelerating demographic crisis that has dramatically fueled the widespread akiya, empty house, phenomenon across the country. Due to a rapidly aging population and intense urban migration, countless residential homes and massive commercial buildings in rural areas have been completely abandoned. For instance, the once thriving Kinugawa hot spring town is now littered with the eerie, decaying ruins of large hotels and local businesses. While foreign investors are sometimes tempted to purchase these properties for remarkably low prices, they quickly discover significant hidden costs. The structural degradation is often so profound that the properties require enormous financial investments just to make them habitable again, stifling any real economic revival. Vocabulary. Grapple with. 수거. 와 씨름하다. 해결하려 노력하다. The new government must earnestly grapple with the issue of high youth unemployment. Demographic. 형용사, 명사. 인구 통계학의, 인구 구조. The company changed its marketing strategy to target a younger demographic. Abandon. 동사. 버리다. 포기하다. The sailors were forced to abandon the sinking ship during the fierce storm. Thriving. 형용사. 번성하는, 잘 자라는. The city center is a vibrant, thriving hub of international business and culture. Eerie. 형용사. 괴상한, 으스스한. The completely empty hospital corridors had a very silent and eerie feeling. Decay. 동사. 부패하다, 쇠퇴하다. The fallen leaves will eventually decay and naturally enrich the forest soil. Habitable. 형용사. 주거할 수 있는, 살기에 적답한. The landlord must legally ensure the apartment is fully habitable before renting it out. Stifle. 동사. 억누르다, 숨막히게 하다. The strict, outdated regulations act to strongly stifle innovation in the tech industry.
8. AlJazeera.com 8.1 미국의 이란 전쟁, 결국 비참한 후퇴로 끝날 것. 미국 제국주의 비판. A fiercely hard-hitting opinion piece published on Al Jazeera argues that the ongoing, destructive war against Iran, initiated by the U.S. and Israel, will likely culminate in an embarrassing American retreat. Esteemed analysts Jeffrey Sachs and Sybil Ferris contend that the overextended U.S. empire simply cannot sustain the war's immense and debilitating financial, military, and political costs. The initial U.S.-Israeli strategy was an aggressive decapitation strike intended to quickly fracture the Iranian regime and smoothly install a pliant, pro-Western government, somewhat akin to covert operations in Venezuela. However, President Trump's arrogant belief that Iran's entrenched leadership would quickly collapse proved to be a dangerously naive miscalculation. Instead, Iran firmly maintains the formidable capability to impose unbearable global economic costs, primarily by threatening vital oil, gas, and desalination infrastructure throughout the fragile region. Vocabulary. Hard-hitting. 형용사. 맹렬한. 직설적인. The investigative journalist wrote a hard-hitting article about corporate corruption. Culminate. 동사. 끝이 나다. 막을 내리다. The week-long cultural festival will culminate with a spectacular fireworks display. Contend. 동사. 주장하다. 다투다. Human rights critics contend that the new security law severely restricts individual freedom. Sustain. 동사. 지탱하다. 감당하다. The struggling economy simply cannot sustain this high level of inflation for much longer. Fracture. 동사. 균열되다. 파열되다. The bitter controversy threatened to irreparably fracture the unity of the political party. Pliant. 형용사. 수능적인. 말 잘 듣는.
The cunning dictator replaced the independent judges with a much more pliant committee. Miscalculation, 명사, 오판, 계산착오. The sudden military defeat was directly caused by a major tactical miscalculation. Unbearable, 형용사, 참을 수 없는, 감당할 수 없는. The sharp pain in his broken leg became absolutely unbearable after the long run. 8.2. 무슬림 최대 명절, 이드 알-아드하 기간에도 멈추지 않은 가자지구 피해 공습. Despite the heavily advertised existence of a nominal ceasefire, relentless Israeli air attacks have tragically continued in Gaza, explicitly violating the fragile peace during the sacred Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha. Palestinian health authorities sadly reported that at least 7 innocent people were killed in a recent, devastating wave of military strikes. Specifically, a lethal Israeli drone mercilessly targeted the densely populated Maghazi refugee camp in central Gaza on Tuesday, resulting in at least 5 immediate and horrific fatalities. Brave civil defense teams and overwhelmed local hospital officials frantically responded to the gruesome, bloody aftermath of the surprise attack. International human rights observers vehemently condemn the continuing violence, correctly noting that such brutal strikes during major religious holidays deeply exacerbate the ongoing humanitarian catastrophe. Vocabulary. Nominal, 형용사, 명목상인, 이름뿐인. He is the nominal head of the company, but his smart wife actually runs things. Explicitly, 부사, 노골적으로, 명백하게. The school rule explicitly forbids the use of mobile phones during final exams. Sacred, 형용사, 신성한, 종교적인. The ancient stone temple is considered a highly sacred place by the indigenous locals. Fatality, 명사, 사망자, 치사유. The horrific highway car accident resulted in 2 fatalities and several severe injuries. Frantically, 부사, 미친 듯이, 필사적으로. She searched frantically for her missing passport just minutes before the flight. Gruesome, 형용사, 소름 끼치는, 섬뜩한. The police detective discovered a gruesome crime scene in the abandoned house. Vehemently, 부사, 열렬하게, 격렬하게. The corrupt governor vehemently denied the accusations of taking corporate bribes. Exacerbate, 분사, 악화시키다. Using harsh, untested chemicals will only exacerbate the sensitive skin condition. 8.3. 세계 언론 자유의 날. 전례 없는 위협에 직면한 글로벌 저널리즘. News.
This year's World Press Freedom Day carries an unusually somber and heavy weight, highlighting that the working conditions for global journalists have never been more perilous. A quarter-century of painstaking, gradual progress in civil liberties is currently being undone with alarming speed by authoritarian regimes. Shockingly, the latest World Press Freedom Index, released by Reporters Without Borders, RSF, reveals a dramatic global retreat. For the first time in the index's history, more than half of the surveyed countries now fall into the difficult or very serious categories concerning journalistic liberty. Organizations attribute this terrifying decline to the targeted killings of hundreds of journalists in conflict zones like Gaza, combined with widespread, systematic crackdowns on independent press globally. Vocabulary. Somber, 형용사, 우울한, 침울한, 어두운. The room fell into a somber silence after the tragic news was announced. Perilous, 형용사, 아주 위험한. The brave explorers embarked on a highly perilous journey across the icy mountains. Painstaking, 형용사, 공들인, 고생스러운. The beautiful restoration of the old painting required years of painstaking work. Undo, 동사, 무효로 만들다, 원상태로 돌리다. One stupid mistake can quickly undo years of hard work and good reputation. Retreat, 명사, 동사, 후퇴, 철수하다. The defeated army was forced into a rapid and disorganized retreat. Attribute A to B, 수거, A를 B의 탓, 덕으로 돌리다. The doctor attributed his amazingly quick recovery to his healthy lifestyle. Targeted, 형용사, 표적이 된, 겨냥한. The military launched a highly targeted drone strike against the rebel leader. Crackdown, 명사, 강력한 탄압, 엄중단속. The police initiated a massive crackdown on illegal street racing this weekend.
9. CBC Canada 9.1 토론토 2026 FIFA 월드컵 개막 19일 앞두고 거국적 축구 열기 고조.
With the highly anticipated kickoff for the FIFA World Cup 2026 in Toronto just 19 days away, soccer excitement across the entire city is rapidly reaching a fever pitch. Across Canada, numerous creative pop-up events are emerging to engage passionate fans, including the construction of 25 new community soccer pitches designed to get children involved in the sport. Over the festive weekend, 254 enthusiastic players gathered in Etobicoke to successfully break the Guinness World Record for playing the largest game of human foosball. Furthermore, major public spaces like Nathan Phillips Square have been completely transformed into vibrant, dedicated soccer hubs, rapidly selling out official World Cup sticker books to collectors. Meanwhile, eager fans are anxiously awaiting Friday, when head coach Jesse Marsch will officially unveil Team Canada's final, definitive 26-player roster. Vocabulary: fever pitch, 명사구, 최고조, 극도의 흥분 상태. The crowd's excitement reached a fever pitch as the famous band walked onto the stage. Emerge, 동사.
나타나다, 떠오르다. Several surprising new facts emerged during the extensive police investigation. Engage, 동사, 참여시키다, 관심을 끌다. A truly good teacher knows exactly how to engage all students in the lesson. Pitch, 명사, 축구, 크리켓 등의 경기장. The exhausted players walked onto the muddy pitch, ready for the final match. Passionate, 형용사, 열정적인. He is a highly passionate and vocal advocate for animal rights. Transform, 동사, 변모시키다, 완전히 바꾸다. The invention of the internet has completely transformed the way we communicate globally. Eager, 형용사, 간절히 바라는, 열성적인. The bright students were incredibly eager to learn about the new science project. Unveil, 동사, 새로운 계획, 상품 등을 발표하다. The innovative tech company will loudly unveil its newest smartphone model next week. 축구 2. 막대한 혈세 논란. 캐나다 월드컵 개최 비용 10억 달러 초과 전망. A sobering new financial report from the Parliamentary Budget Officer, PBO, reveals that hosting the 2026 World Cup will cost Canadian governments across all levels well over $1 billion. The staggering $1.66 billion price tag to host games in Vancouver and Toronto equates to a massive cost of roughly $82 million per single match. Specifically, the bulk of the robust federal financial support is heavily focused on upgrading aging infrastructure and ensuring top-tier security operations, including $145 million designated for the RCMP. Canada is scheduled to proudly host 13 of the 104 total tournament games being played across North America. However, the report bluntly warned that should hosting costs inevitably rise, any financial overruns exceeding the federal grants must be completely absorbed by the local municipal governments. Vocabulary: sobering, 형용사, 번쩍 정신이 들게 하는, 심각하게 만드는. The doctor gave him a sobering warning about his deteriorating health. Staggering, 형용사, 믿기 힘든, 엄청난. The Category 5 hurricane caused a staggering amount of damage to the island. Equate to, 구동사, 뭐뭐와 맞먹다, 뭐뭐와 동일하다. A 10% cut in our budget equates to losing 5 essential staff members. Bulk, 명사, 대부분, 큰 규모. The vast bulk of the company's funding comes directly from private investors. Robust, 형용사, 튼튼한, 강력한. The software features a highly robust security system against hackers. Infrastructure, 명사, 사회 기반 시설, 인프라. The government is investing heavily in improving national transport infrastructure. Overrun, 명사, 동사, 비용, 시간의 초과, 초과하다. The massive construction project experienced severe budget overruns. Municipal, 형용사, 지방자치단체의 시에. The municipal government is responsible for local waste management and parks. 9. 3. 영국 찰스 3세 국왕, 미국 트럼프 조롱 속 캐나다 의회 개헌연설 방문.
King Charles III and Queen Camilla are currently embarking on a highly symbolic and politically charged royal visit to Canada, culminating in the king personally delivering the speech from the throne on May 27. Prime Minister Mark Carney proudly heralded the upcoming visit, stating that having the British king open Parliament clearly underscores Canada's enduring and independent sovereignty. The throne speech is a pivotal political document that officially lays out the ruling government's expected direction, legislative goals, and strategies for the new session.
This royal engagement arrives at an incredibly politically sensitive moment, specifically acting as a dignified counter to repeated insulting taunts from U.S. President Donald Trump regarding Canada becoming the 51st state. Historians note that the visit strongly reaffirms Canada's deep-rooted constitutional ties to the British Crown amidst mounting external geopolitical pressures. Vocabulary: embark, 동사, 착수하다, 배에 승선하다. The young, adventurous couple decided to embark on a journey around the world. Symbolic, 형용사, 상징적인. The delicate exchange of rings is a highly symbolic part of the wedding ceremony. Herald, 동사, 예고하다, 환영하다. The loud return of the migrating birds heralds the warm beginning of spring. Underscore, 동사, 강조하다, 밑줄을 긋다. The recent building tragedy underscores the absolute need for better safety laws. Sovereignty, 명사, 주권, 통치권. The proud nation fought a long, bloody war to defend its political sovereignty. Pivotal, 형용사, 중추적인, 중요한. She played an absolutely pivotal role in successfully negotiating the peace settlement. Taunt, 명사 slash 동사, 조공, 비웃음, 조롱하다. The mature players completely ignored the rude taunts from the opposing team's fans. Reaffirm, 동사, 재확인하다. The two allied leaders met in person to proudly reaffirm their mutual commitment to defense.
10. DD 인디아. 인도와 캐나다 탈중국기 조속 2026년 내 포괄적 경제동반자 협정 CEPA 전격 체결 추진. India and Canada are aggressively pushing to officially finalize their mutually beneficial Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, by the end of 2026. To rapidly accelerate these complex negotiations, Indian Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is currently leading a record-breaking business delegation to key cities like Ottawa and Toronto. The massive and unprecedented delegation features powerful representatives from over 100 Indian companies spanning vital, high-growth sectors such as artificial intelligence, pharmaceuticals, mining, and telecommunications. Through a series of intensive business-to-business engagements, the two governments aim to effectively convert high-level political dialogues into concrete, lucrative commercial partnerships. Both ambitious nations have set a shared target to dramatically expand their current bilateral trade of $8.5 billion to a staggering $50 billion by 2030. Vocabulary: finalize, 동사, 마무리 짓다, 완결하다. We urgently need to finalize the contract details before officially signing it tomorrow. Delegation, 명사, 대표단, 사절단. The country sent a large, high-ranking diplomatic delegation to the UN Peace Summit. Span, 동사, 명사, 걸치다, 포괄하다, 기간. Her incredibly impressive career gracefully spans more than 3 decades in the industry. Intensive, 형용사, 집중적인, 집약적인. The dedicated students took an intensive language immersion course during the summer. Convert, 동사, 전환하다, 바꾸다. The abandoned old factory was beautifully converted into a modern, luxury apartment complex. Concrete, 형용사, 구체적인, 실체가 있는. The police currently have no concrete evidence to safely arrest the prime suspect. Lucrative, 형용사, 수익성이 좋은, 돈벌이가 되는. He left his boring desk job to pursue a highly lucrative career in commercial real estate. Staggering, 형용사, 믿기 힘든, 엄청난. The severe hurricane caused a staggering amount of structural damage to the island.
12.2 마르코 루비오 미 국무장관 인도 자이푸르 전격 방문. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has embarked on an important diplomatic trip to India, specifically visiting the historic and culturally rich city of Jaipur in Rajasthan. According to the meticulously planned schedule, Rubio is expected to arrive on Monday and enjoy an exclusive guided tour of the magnificent Amer Fort. Rajasthan's Deputy Chief Minister, Diya Kumari, is officially scheduled to personally welcome Rubio at the iconic fort, ensuring the highest level of diplomatic hospitality. Extensive preparations for a grand ceremonial reception have already begun at Jaleb Chowk inside the vast historic fort complex. By mobilizing local folk artists and traditional cultural troops, India aims to proudly showcase Rajasthan's vibrant heritage while simultaneously strengthening strategic bilateral ties with the United States. Vocabulary. Meticulously. Pusa. 꼼꼼하게, 세심하게. The elegant wedding ceremony was meticulously planned down to the smallest detail. Exclusive. 형용사. 독점적인, 전용해.
The famous celebrity granted an exclusive interview to the national magazine. Magnificent. 형용사. 웅장한, 장엄한. The tourists stood in awe before the magnificent, towering ancient cathedral. Hospitality. 명사. 환대, 친절. The warm hospitality of the local villagers made our trip truly unforgettable. Ceremonial. 형용사. 의식에, 예식에. The soldiers wore their colorful ceremonial uniforms for the grand parade. Mobilize. 동사. 동원하다, 결집하다. The government mobilized the entire army to help with the sudden earthquake relief. Showcase. 동사. 선보이다, 전시하다. The new gallery was built to uniquely showcase local artists' brilliant work. Heritage. 명사. 유산, 전통. The beautiful ancient ruins are an important part of our proud national heritage. Indian top government officials are currently pouring effusive praise on Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he officially marks a milestone 12 years in office. Key political figures, including Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, took to social media to heavily congratulate the Prime Minister. Dhami specifically referred to May 26, 2014, the day Modi first took his oath, as a truly defining and transformative moment in modern Indian history. He enthusiastically declared that the date marked the launch of a new, glorious era, firmly setting the nation on a decisive path toward becoming a developed, well-governed, and globally confident new India. This highly coordinated celebration serves to actively solidify Modi's immense domestic popularity and highlight his administration's massive developmental journey over the past decade. Vocabulary. Effusive. 형용사. 감정 표현이 넘쳐 흐르는, 과장된. The grateful mother gave her son's rescuer an effusive, tearful welcome. Milestone. 명사. 중요한 단계, 획기적인 사건. Graduating from college is a major milestone in anyone's young life. Oath. 명사. 선서, 맹세. The newly elected president took the official oath of office on live television. Defining. 형용사. 결정적인, 본질적인 의미를 규정하는. Winning the championship was the defining moment of his athletic career. Transformative. 형용사. 변화를 가져오는. The invention of the internet had a truly transformative effect on society. Decisive. 형용사. 결정적인, 결단력 있는. You must take clear, decisive action to quickly solve this urgent problem. Solidify. 동사. 굳히다, 확고히 하다.
The new mutually beneficial trade agreement will further solidify their alliance. Administration. 명사. 행정부. 관리. The current administration has tightly focused on drastically improving public health care.